And good afternoon. I'm John Palmentary. I'm on Turnpike Road in an area near Hollister and San Marcos High School in Goleta, where we have reports of a shot or multiple shots fired earlier this afternoon. The Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department and Santa Barbara Police Department are on scene here at the Positano Apartments. As we turn around here, you'll see some of the heavy reinforcements that have come in right now in the area of Camino De Vida. 146 Camino De Vida is the address they're concentrating on, and they're stringing yellow tape. They're going door to door. They're trying to notify those who are in the apartment complex to safely evacuate them and clear them out. The circumstances are still unknown as to what led the authorities here. We believe the police department was already here on a call for an enforcement action, and that's when they called out special enforcement team members. And after that, possibly around 12:45 this afternoon, shots were fired, or a shot was fired. It's been described as a handgun and then a rifle. We have multiple law enforcement agencies here, including the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department, the California Highway Patrol, and the Police Department. If you look through to the Positano office, this is the Positano Apartments, and this is a Housing Authority of Santa Barbara County project. They have had some people going in and out, and they're clearing them out. Some citizens have been trying to walk in, and the Sheriff's Department has ushered them out. And we believe the enforcement action is down that center walkway where that trellis is, to the right and straight ahead. So a lot of law enforcement are coming through this area to clear out the people. In the lower left of your screen, you see the K-9 has just arrived from the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department, and they'll be part of this enforcement. And then overhead, we have a helicopter. It's sitting pretty high in the sky right now. It hasn't moved in low, but a helicopter is watching from overhead and relaying information down. It appears as if the Santa Barbara Police Department is the lead agency on this, and the Sheriff's Department is now in a coordinated and collaborated effort of enforcement here. It's unknown what the suspect is wanted for, but we do know that there have been some confirmed shots fired. No injuries have been reported. AMR has a couple of ambulances here. As a matter of fact, we'll spin around and show some of the road closures here at Turnpike and Camino De Vida. And so we have the Highway Patrol here assisting with the Sheriff's Department. Traffic on the other side of the street is flowing to a lot of people out of the area. That would be up towards the freeway or coming from Hollister. But coming from the freeway and down towards Hollister Avenue, that is cut off. And what we have here is the Highway Patrol. And as we turn all the way around, we have the AMR ambulance vans, and they're standing by as well, along with Santa Barbara County. 2 fire engines are staging, and the situation is all pulled back here, except for those who are immediately on the front line. So we have the police and probation here, which leads us to believe that maybe a probation action with the Santa Barbara Police and then the SWAT team called in, and then backed up by the Sheriff's Department when shots were fired. There's some more heavily armed Sheriff's personnel coming through on the left side of the screen. We could probably walk up here and take a better look at it down Camino De Vida, and they're staging right here in this main courtyard area. And you can see they're going to that map there. If you look over to the right side of the screen here, there's a map board, and they're using that as a reference point on where they're going to go and what they're going to do here with these additional personnel. So on the right side of the screen there, you see, and probably in the center now, the personnel that have just arrived. They're getting some command instructions, and they're going to be moving in to assist those who are already in place surrounding this apartment. We understand the shots were fired from an upstairs room, and it's unclear where they were fired, either inside or shooting outside. They've actually tried to contact neighbors with the reverse 911 call to ask if they're okay or if any shots went through the wall or possibly injured them, so they have a scope as to where those shots went. It was unclear whether they were fired at law enforcement, at another person, or through the wall or ceiling. So that's what they're dealing with now in the area of Turnpike and Camino De Vida. This is across from San Marcos High School, which has some law enforcement there, but it's not in the line of fire. It's up much higher up where the baseball field is, and of course there's an elevation there as well, and there's nobody on the field right now. So the school is not in any particular jeopardy at all, and that's not a main concern for those who are concerned about the school. It appears as if they're ushering somebody out on the right side of this apartment complex, somebody wearing blue that has just come forward and then told to go back. So any citizens that are here have been told to either shelter in place or evacuate with the help of law enforcement. We have not seen a lot of people leave, though, so it appears as if they're all staying where they are located. I know there's a window straight ahead that somebody was peering out of, but that's the last we've seen of that person. They're using the Turnpike and Hollister Vaughn's parking lot as the command post, but we're here at the actual location where the enforcement action is taking place, and this is called the Positano Apartments. For those of you just joining us on this streaming, there were shots fired before 1 o'clock here at the Positano Apartments here at the intersection of Turnpike and Camino De Vida. This is just down from Highway 101, across from San Marcos High School and up from Hollister. The Santa Barbara Police Department was on scene with a special enforcement team. It appears as if probation was here as well. Shots were fired. It was unknown if anyone was hit or hurt, and the Sheriff's Department was called in as a backup. They have added their SWAT team. Motor units as well are here, the K-9 and the helicopter. Matter of fact, some motor units are coming out right now, so we should probably move to the side if they come up this street here. Looks like they're turning to the right and they're going another location. So they're out, and more SWAT team members are here. The special enforcement officers have some heavy armor with them. Of course, all those tools of defense, and to coordinate this. Here comes somebody on the left side of the screen that's just strolling up that should not be in this area. It's amazing how sometimes in these instances people can just come walk in. It looks like a mother and a baby have just walked into an area that appeared to have been completely cordoned off. The Sheriff's Department is talking to them, and I'm certain that this is going to be resolved with them being escorted out of the area. It's always a bit surprising. And now the K-9 dog is arriving as well, going from left to right now, and it's going to be staging and be part of the process. It appears as if the law enforcement are talking to this person as if they may be familiar with the situation. They're getting an escort in, and we don't see that too often, but sometimes if it's someone who's involved in negotiations, that might be what's going on there. But a law enforcement officer from the Sheriff's Department is escorting this woman and her baby in. So that leaves a few people in our shot here. Everyone else is inside the courtyard and inside the apartment complex known as the Positano Apartments. And the K-9 has arrived and the helicopter is up overhead. We'll keep you apprised of the situation. But since the shots were fired at 12:45 or about that time this afternoon, the situation has not been involving any further shots or any enforcement where they've stormed a door down or got into a particular apartment. It's unclear if the suspect is in communication with law enforcement. I'm certain that they are doing a call out for them to surrender. I'm listening to some of the communications now, and it believes as if they're asking the suspect to come out right now. This is some of the information I'm getting. And behind, here comes the K-9 unit now. It should be Eddie. Eddie was the K-9 dog you might have seen in one of our news reports earlier last year. So we've got the CHP K-9 Eddie here and the Sheriff's Department K-9 as well, joining in on the enforcement action. From the communications I'm hearing, the Santa Barbara Police Department appears to be the lead agency on this. they have an apartment building surrounded, someone inside, they're asking them to come out or surrender, and surrender out of the front of the building. Normally we don't get any more specific, and I won't get any more details out there other than what we see here, and I'll not be relaying any more of the real specific positioning of the law enforcement at this time. It appears as if the suspect is certain there's law enforcement outside based on what we've been hearing. But their positions and how they're handling this, we will not be conveying with you for the safety of everyone in this apartment complex, the officers and the suspect. But we do know, and it's widely visible to anyone around here, the amount of law enforcement here, and the canines, and the helicopter, and the special enforcement teams, and the Bearcat units, similar to a tank. The fire department from Santa Barbara County with 2 engines, staging on Turnpike, 2 AMR ambulances staging. No one has been called in to do a medical rescue or assessment of any type, which is good news that no one's been hit or hurt. The canine officer has put on a metal helmet and bulletproof gear, ready to take out the dog Eddie, and the other canine is already here. On the top side of the walkway to the left, some people are coming out. It appears as if there's law enforcement, and they're escorting some people out there. It looks like a couple of adults and a child. And they're coming right by that canine unit now. Heavily armed sheriff's personnel here, escorting people out of adjacent apartments, no doubt, for their safety. And it sounds like they are trying to get as many people out safely as they possibly can, so they can just focus on the person in the unit that they need to focus on. Multiple units are here at the Positano Apartments. If you come up from San Marcos High School, this would be on your left side. If you come down from the freeway, it would be on your right side. There you have the sheriff's personnel, and it looks like a person confined to a wheelchair, and 2 adults that have been escorted out by the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department safely out of the area where there's harm possibly that could happen here. And now they're more and more focusing on the area. Now we're being called back to a new location beyond this predetermined location where we are authorized to stand by the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department and Police Department in a joint effort here at Turnpike and Camino De Vida. So we'll turn here and we'll reposition. The law enforcement continues to bring some people out. I see some on the right side of the apartment complex over here coming out as well. There's 3 adults that are coming out right now. Apparently they've been asked to leave by the Sheriff's Department and police personnel. They're walking pretty calmly, considering how shots have been fired, and it looks like they're being checked by the Sheriff's Department for any information they might have. Now the canine unit is going around to the left side of the Positano Apartments complex. They're still staging and making a plan, it looks like. The citizens that have been brought out appear like they're getting some information, and that's being documented by law enforcement on the scene. Now we have the special enforcement unit equipment coming from the Sheriff's Department. This vehicle is loaded with command post type information and computers and all the information that they need to be able to communicate to all the units, telecommunication equipment. And that's a mobile command post unit for the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department that is going to be put into service here for the coordination and collaboration of all the units that are here from the multiple agencies, CHP, Sheriff, and the Santa Barbara Police Department, which appears to be the lead agency on this. We're streaming live now, and we'll be hopefully talking to Anthony Wagner from the Santa Barbara Police Department. Looks like he's ready to talk to us now. So Anthony, let's turn you around, and we'll turn completely around. We'll keep you right there. And it looks like you've been debriefed by the authorities here. This is streaming on our website right now, and we have set the stage here on what we believe happened around 12:45 or 1 o'clock. But take us from that time about why the police department was here and what happened.
About 12:45 this afternoon, the Santa Barbara Police Department on Camino De Vida and Turnpike affected a high-risk search warrant of a wanted subject. We came upon the residence. We set up a perimeter, and the individual fired multiple shots at our police officers and apparatus, a number of volleys of gunfire, of which we find ourselves where we're at right now, basically holding that perimeter and attempting to make contact with the subject to get them to surrender peacefully.
What can you tell us about the people that are in this complex, and what should they do if they're following this right now?
I can say that thus far we want you to shelter in place. We want you to be in communication with police officers should they come to the door and help effect an evacuation, and then heed the information from officers that are physically on the scene right there.
We see AMR and fire staging and not inside, which leads us to believe no one has been hurt. Can you get us a status on that?
Thus far, we believe that no officers have been injured. We are assessing the surrounding situation to ensure that no one else has been injured as well.
And the high school has some cars in the parking lot, but I've seen some cars go up and down Turnpike on the far side of the street. And I have said on the streaming broadcast that it appears that the school is not in any immediate danger. They've got a plan there on how to get the cars out another way, I imagine.
The school's not in immediate danger. Right. We have a perimeter. It is set up. The known subject is within that perimeter. We don't believe that individual has the capability of exiting that perimeter. And as a precautionary note, the Santa Barbara Police Department, the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department, and the school resource officer are in ongoing and fluid communication.
Okay, I'm going to go to the left, and the camera's going to go to the right, and you're going to come with me.
Okay.
And the camera's going to show the mobile command post, which is the sheriff's mobile command post, but they've been in the news quite a bit lately. In Santa Barbara and the county. Can you tell us what happens with a mobile command post when it's set up like this, and how that will help, especially when you have multiple agencies, police, sheriff, probation, highway patrol, a helicopter overhead, 2 canines, all going on at once?
There's 2 mobile command posts here now. There's the sheriff's mobile command post as well as the Santa Barbara Police Department mobile command post set up in the convenience store parking lot just to the south of us.
That'd be the Vaughn's Shopping Center.
That is correct.
What happens with these command posts, and how are they helping to coordinate?
It's a multi-purpose van. Some of our crisis negotiation response is emanating from that location, as well as general command of the scene and an interagency communication as well.
Okay, that's good to know. So we have the main command post of the shopping center, another mobile command post here as well. Good utilization of all these resources that we've shown on the news over the last several weeks and months. Now they're being implemented right before us, canine, helicopter, and more. I'm going to let Anthony Wagner listen to the communications and confer with authorities. Thank you so much for that debriefing. Again, no one hurt. Shots were fired about 12:45 in the area of Camino De Vida. This is the Positano Apartments. We've got multiple resources here from several agencies. And that includes the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department Police, CHP, probation, assisted with their canine units, 2 mobile command posts, multiple officers and deputies, and the helicopter is doing air ops overhead to help them back down on the ground. AMR and Santa Barbara County Fire are present as well, but the good news is no one's been hurt. We do have confirmed reports that shots were fired around 12:45 in the serving of a high-risk search warrant. To the left over here, we have some people who have been evacuated, including the person confined to a wheelchair, and they're moving even further to safety. 3 adults, sheriff's personnel, and someone in a wheelchair that came out of that apartment complex down the driveway under the yellow tape, and now and a dog as well, and they're being assisted here on scene. What was still unclear is how much communications that we have or the authorities have with the suspect involved. If there's a phone call that's been made, or if it's verbal or PA, and what the strategy is going to be to peacefully and safely negotiate a way for that suspect to surrender, and also how long this would take if this person is willing to come out now, or will it take some time and other efforts. Normally, they bring in a crisis negotiator and discuss with the person if they'll be willing to talk what their options are and how this can go very safely. And also, they talk to the person possibly through a family member as well, if they can do that as well. Now we're seeing one of the robots come out, and this is also used by the bomb squad. In this case, the robot can go up and look through windows or detect sounds. This information is widely known. I'm, again, not going to convey much about positioning or that type of detail, but this is in the public's eye, and we want to show you the apparatus and equipment that can be seen from the street and some of the tools they use on a regular basis for bombs or surveillance, or to get into an area that might be unsafe for an officer or deputy, but certainly if the robot's there, it can do so much. And from the mobile command post, they can see what the robot sees. It'll go in and move forward and have a camera and send back some images. It doesn't do much more in this instance other than do a visual look and record that and send it back. And you see how fast they're able to put this together and get it down there. It rolled right out right away, and they're hooking it up, and they're ready to roll here in just a few minutes. This is operated remotely. There won't be generally there's no human being or officer or deputy that goes with it. It is operated remotely, and it can go over irregular terrain, steps, grass, rocks. We've seen it in different instances, going over curbs, and it'll be rolling here soon. For those just joining us, this is a incident that began about 12:45 at the Positano Apartments. This is an area in the Goleta Valley off of Turnpike and Camino De Vida across from San Marcos High School, where a high-risk search warrant was in the process of being served by the Probation Department, Santa Barbara Police Department, and shots were fired. No one was hurt that we are aware of. And authorities have been staging here and moving in with their SWAT teams. The special enforcement teams from the Sheriff's Department and Police Department are here. They have multiple units, a helicopter overhead, K-9 units from the Sheriff's Department and the California Highway Patrol. And a command post is set up at the Vaughn's parking lot on Hollister and Turnpike. And a mobile command post is set up here in the parking lot of the Positano Apartments. What we see in the picture here is not where the incident is occurring. It's somewhere in the courtyard or down that walkway to the right of the main office. We've seen a lot of personnel going in and out on that side. The apartment building is surrounded. Some people have been evacuated, and they've come out, but we have been unable to talk to them just yet. We will in a few minutes. There are some people who are sheltering in place. Over here on the right side, there's someone right all the way right there that is poking their head out. And so obviously people here are not in the immediate zone of danger, but they're certainly been more than likely told to either stay there or come out with an officer and get out of here for a while. Aside from that, it's been pretty static. We do see the K-9s moving on the far parking lot there. just to the left of the main office, there'll be a K9 walking right there. There it goes. And that's the Sheriff's Department K9. And we know the CHP. Closely. It sounds like they are able to go to a number of different units that are trying to contact people inside, so we might see some civilians come out, and that would be to safely evacuate. We've seen this happen before where they try and get people out of every unit they can around where the incident is taking place, so that if anything negative goes on when they are dealing with the suspect, no one else is around but the suspect and the law enforcement. And so that's likely going to be happening. It's normal protocol and procedures here. Okay, that's the very latest from the scene. We're going to be taking a break from the streaming update for you, and we'll have more updates for you on our website in video, pictures, and some of the other information we can provide to you. Also on our social media accounts as well. But once again, for those of you who are joining, we're going to be sending it back and taking a break here to get some more information here on Turnpike and Camino De Vida. This is the Positano Apartments, where a high-risk search warrant ended with a situation, or has an ongoing situation, where shots were fired. Law enforcement has surrounded the apartment complex, and they're trying to negotiate a suspect out safely and make an arrest. I'm John Palmentary. I'll have more details for you here and tonight on News Channel 3 at 5 and 6 o'clock.